All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. The time is now 5:30. We will be starting the Tuesday, September 2nd, Committee Development Committee meeting is now called to order. May I get a roll call, please?
Alderman Donworth.
Present.
Alderman Martinez.
Present.
Chairman Felix.
Present.
Absent are Alderman Hayes and Alderman Bolton. You do have a quorum, sir.
All right. On item B, 1B, approval of minutes. May I please have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes for the Community Development Committee meeting of August 4th, 2025?
So move.
Second.
First by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Donenworth. Are there any questions to this motion? Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Line item 2, audience time. Is there anyone who would like to address the Community Development Committee from the audience? There is none. Line item 3, old business. There is no old business. Item 4A, may I please have a motion and a second for agenda 4A?
Motion.
Second.
We're going to actually move line item 4A towards the end. We do have we're waiting on some individuals to come.
Well, we've made the motion, but we'll have to just hold off on discussion. I mean, unless you want to, there's another option, and that's to, the same person could withdraw, but if you're going to discuss it later, what I would say is just we'll move on, in theory, because we're waiting for another person. Okay.
If we can do that, please.
Yeah, we'll just
Move on for now.
move on then.
Okay. Line item B. This is, may I please have a motion and a second for agenda line item 4B?
Motion.
First by Alderman Donenworth, second by Alderman Martinez. This is an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, zoning calendar number 2791. Any questions for the motion? Sam, I believe you have a presentation for us.
I do. Thank you, Alderman Felix, and good evening, Alderman. Sam Green, planner with the Planning and Zoning Department, here to talk today about our amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance. The UDO has been in place for a little over a year now, and it having been in place for that time, we are ready to take forward our first set of real major amendments. So today I'm going to be talking to you about those amendments. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that I'm also going to tell you about one similarly related change to the fee and fine schedule. And I was planning to talk about a city code change. Staff is actually requesting that we hold off on that one. We'll ask that you continue that to the next committee meeting. We need to retool that ourselves a little bit before we take that to you. But on the next slide, I'll start with the UDO review. So if you remember, we consolidated our zoning ordinance, our sign ordinance, our subdivision ordinance, tree preservation and landscape ordinance, and our design guidelines into one cohesive, simple document. The intent was to make it easier to build in Waukegan, easier to start a business, easier to understand what you're allowed to do with your property here in the city. On the next slide, just a reminder of the calendar of it all. This all started in 2019 with an application to CMAP's Local Technical Assistance Program. Due to the pandemic, the work didn't start until 2021, but we received the first full draft of this in 2023. Throughout that year and a half following, we worked to engage the public, work with the city council, and work with our planning department to revise the UDO, and ultimately it was unanimously approved by this city council on July 1st of 2024. Here we are today. 1 month ago, the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed these same amendments. They unanimously approved these amendments with one very small change that I'll cover in a minute. And then we're going to be here today for the committee and in 2 weeks for the council review, hopefully starting off a cycle of regular amendments. We want this to be something we're always working with, a living ordinance, as they say, so hopefully be hearing from us again. So I will dive into the, one more thing on the review on the next slide. In this year of implementing the UDO, you may have noticed a few things. First, we have certainly noticed a positive reception from our business community, from residents, and from city stakeholders who have worked with the old zoning ordinances and are now working with the UDO, who cannot express how much they appreciate this book. It's easier to use, the whole goal. We're very happy to hear that. And as a result of this easier to use document, we've also had faster and easier approval processes, people not spending as much time going through this bureaucracy. They get their license, they get their project going, they're open for business. I think all of those combined have led to this third bullet point. You may have seen in the News Sun the other day that we have an extremely high number of businesses operating in Waukegan. The 2025 number was double the 2022 number. And I know that's not only because of this ordinance, but I certainly would like to think that creating an easier process and making an easier document had some hand in that, and we're very proud of that, as should the rest of staff and the aldermen be. You may have also noticed that we have fewer items from planning and zoning coming to you for approval. When you make an easier document, you make easier approval processes, fewer people have to come to you for little things. We're happy with that. It's easier on residents, people are starting their projects faster, it's all better. And I hope you've also noticed that we're maintaining those same community values. We want to keep Waukegan a good place to live. Zoning has a really big part in that, and we hope that, we found that with the UDO in place, we're still maintaining that. So on the next slide, you'll just see that, in January, we were here in front of you for very minor edits. That was legal issues, spelling errors, commas, those kinds of things. This is our first major round of amendments. So we really took a close look at the code. We listened to what you all had to say about the language, and after a year of implementing it, we have some changes. Mostly that's similar to the January edits. We're improving inconsistencies and errors, but there's also some changes that we wanted to make it a little bit more readable, always room for improvement on that. We have a couple of regulatory amendments based off of your feedback, based off of state legislation that we needed to implement. And then, of course, if there's any other ways we can just achieve goals of the comprehensive plan, we're putting that into this book. So on the next slide, I gave you a few things that kind of show what we're changing. The first is one of these documents. It's attached on board docs, but they've been handed out around City Hall. It gives a very brief summary of what changed. If you want to see the actual text of what changed, there's a summary of all of the changes, bold and underlined, and strike-throughs of the deletions. And then, of course, there's a full red line document if you want to see it all in the context of the UDO, all posted on board docs for you to see. All right, next slide shows what's actually changing. And I'm going to give a very brief summary of all these changes. There was a lot there. I think it was like 12 pages of the summary of changes. So I'm just going to cover what I think were the important changes. If you noticed something that you would like to ask a question about or anything, just let me know. So the first major change we did is we expanded some of the uses and the use permissions. So things like how we classify uses, like we used to call animal hospitals an animal shelter, but that's not how they operate. They operate more like a doctor's office just for animals, so we reclassified it as a professional office. We're allowing accessory things like ball courts and rain barrels and greenhouses in more places where we're feeling like we're comfortable enough to let more properties do that. We also created what's called a fleet management facility. So now if you have a business that's involved in passenger transportation, like if you are like a medical transport business, you can now operate in the city of Waukegan. We created that use. The next slide talks about some changes to our variance processes. One of the changes we're excited about is that all accessory structure setbacks and placements variances are now just going to the Development Review Board. Things like a shed, if the setback for a shed is 5 feet, and if it's only going to be 2 feet from the property line, even though it's only a 3-foot setback, and that seems so small to you and me, by the code right now, that has to go all the way to City Council. So hopefully, by adding this language, we can simplify that process, bring it down to just a month. Kind of the reverse, we're doing sign variances to receive the standard approval process. It wasn't spelled out that way. It said that they just went to the DRB, and we see that residents care a lot about signs, and that should be treated like any other variance. We added something called unspecified minor adjustments going to the Development Review Board. The intent of that being, we don't want it to ever have like, oh, there's no real variance process for your project, so therefore you can't do it. This is saying if it's really small in nature, and we didn't mention it anywhere else in the ordinance, it can go to the DRB for approval. And then the appeal process for the DRB wasn't clearly listed, so we put that in, and appeal to the Development Review Board goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The next slide talks about changes to some of our parking. One of the biggest things we heard from the alderman was that the parking lot landscaping requirements were too strict. So the Tree Preservation and Landscape Ordinance back in 2005 adopted those landscaping requirements. We're changing the trigger for that so that existing parking lots that were legally approved by this city and are replacing their parking lot as is don't have to comply with those requirements. We piloted it for a year after the Tree Preservation and Landscape Ordinance within the UDO. We heard from business owners, we heard from all of you that it wasn't working, so we're addressing that change. We also added something called a public transportation hub. This is state legislation saying that you can't enforce a parking minimum within a half mile of our metro station. The next slide talks about a new section we added to the UDO about revocation of conditional use permits. This is something we don't ever want to have to use, but if you ever read an ordinance for a conditional use permit, one of the lines says, if all else fails, the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council can revoke a CUP as like a way of fixing a problem. The problem was we didn't have any process for that, and even though we don't want to have to use it, if God forbid we ever do have to use that tool, we now have a clearly spelled out process, and that's going to keep us in good standing if that ever gets challenged or what have you. It's always good to have processes even if you don't know when you're going to have to use them. Next slide talks about, any questions so far on any of that before I move on?
Alderman Florian.
Thank you, Chair. I have two things. The parking you mentioned for fleet parking, that doesn't include trucks, right? Like if someone wants to do a truck parking lot?
Good question. Yeah, fleet management facility is limited to businesses who are primarily transporting passengers. So think of like a medical transport fits that, but like a UPS wouldn't because they're transporting freight. And a trucking company is transporting their own freight. That wouldn't really apply.
Okay. And then when you were talking about the tree parking lot stuff, you said you heard from all of us that we didn't like it. I stand maybe alone in saying that I wanted to keep that. So just for the record.
Thanks for that note. If there's no other questions, I can keep moving. Just a few more things for you. Next slide talks about little details that we changed. This is very helpful from residents. So for example, the R1 district and the R2 district are called single unit residential. You can build a duplex in R2. So we had a resident call us, said, I want to build a duplex, but I live in the single unit residential district. We said, oh yeah, we see how that's confusing. So we're changing R1 and R2 to the limited residential district. We realized we had a dog kennel size that was only like 40 square feet, and that's really small. So we increased that to 100, allowed more than one for things like an animal shelter that's going to need more than one. We allowed for seeding of grass, so you don't have to do super technical hydro seeding. People prepare to just seed. We also are allowing you to cover up to 75% of your roof with solar panels, and you don't have to cover exactly 75%. You can cover up to. So little things like that that you catch when working with an ordinance for a year. We're hoping that this slew of amendments can help fix those issues. Next slide. The last thing is just, organization, clarity. We reorganized Section 5 on plan unit developments to read how a developer would read that section and how they would need to process that information. We moved some things, so like we used to have, we've always had a minimum lot size for auto body shops and for auto sales. We moved that from the bulk table where people weren't seeing them to the use section where people who want to start an auto shop are looking for that information. So instead of people coming to us and finding out, oh, there's this rule, they're seeing that and they're knowing that from the start. We similarly listed our garage and driveway requirements in the residential design language. Those were getting missed a few times, so we think that's going to fix that issue. And we created 16 definitions or amended them to provide a little bit more clarity on what we mean in this document. Next slide. Sure.
Alderman Guzman?
Okay, I'm not in this committee, but, okay. So you mentioned garages, auto repair and stuff like that. Okay, so here's the problem. How are we going to fix the auto repair and the auto dealer that come up here and, I mean, I guess they get certain amount of cars and certain amount of things, and then the whole thing's a disaster afterwards. I mean, I get complaints about the one on Washington and Keller all the time. And I remember that when it went to council for approval. I remember Alderman Florian had concern about it, but in the transparency of business, I voted for it. But I didn't realize it was going to be such, I mean,
Yeah, no,
impact.
I think that those minimum lot sizes, we're definitely making sure to keep them. That Washington and Keller one is below the minimum lot size. So, you know, we're including them in the use table so that those people are seeing them and finding sites that meet that minimum before they find a site like that, before they really fall in love with a site that's too small and isn't going to work. And then even if there are problems afterwards, we're really relying on code compliance to be able to go out there and fix issues like jam-packing cars into everywhere. One of the changes we made in January was specifying that cars need to be parked in parking spaces. You wouldn't think you would need to say that, but here we are. So, you know, it's like those little details I was talking to you about the first one. Make little changes in the UDO, enforce them with code compliance.
And so basically it comes down to code compliance.
For existing businesses that are making problems, yes.
Thank you.
Few more things for you. We are making a small amendment to the fee and fine schedule, so that's the list of what it costs us to process an application. We have a tree in lieu fee, so instead of, if you cut down a tree and you can't replace it on your property, you can pay a fine instead to meet that requirement. We're setting a limit on that, so we're never gonna bill you for more than $7,500 for a residential project, and we're never gonna bill you for more than $15,000 for non-residential projects. We're not changing any of the other fees or what the actual fee is, just those kind of imposing those caps. On the next slide, and I'll be back in January with the zoning map. Again, that's one of those other cyclical things that we're going to be bringing to you every year. And with that, at the next slide, I will take any questions, or you can always feel free to meet with us. We're here every day from 8 to 5. If you want a printed copy of this document, let us know. We're here for you.
Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Chair. So you said the maximum fee for a business project was $15,000,
Correct.
no matter how big it is?
So, yeah, essentially it's saying if you're cutting down so many trees that you're racking up these big fines.
Oh, that's just for trees. It's not for the permitting. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the permit total.
No,
in
that's
general.
okay. It's just the fee if you're not able to replace.
Okay, got it.
Alderman Guzman?
Thank you. Once again, I'm not on this committee, but okay. So here's some of the issues that I'm seeing for my residents. Okay, there are certain trees that belong to the city. Okay, they're perfectly good trees, but they're destroying. The roots are destroying people's sewer pipes. So how do we get that taken care of?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're going to say no, the tree cannot be cut down. It's still alive.
Actually, that's not true. Any tree that's creating a hazard like that or damage to a property can come down and is not subject to a replacement requirement. That can come down. And I would encourage any of those residents to reach out to our forestry department to work with them to do that.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. I will do that.
And Sam, just to clarify regarding the tree, that's if it's on private. If it's public, then we have more discretion as to what we can do with the tree. Is that correct?
Like in Alderman Guzman's situation?
And just in general, like if it was a nuisance tree and the public side, we have more discretion as to.
I believe so. I would encourage you to ask our forestry department. They're the experts on that.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Sam. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, so moving on to line item C.
Do you?
Are they here? Not yet? Okay. Thank you. We're actually going to hold this over, line item C.
Can we do a motion to table it, just so it's located in the minutes, sir?
Can I get a motion to table line item C in a second? Motion by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Donenworth. Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to line item D. May I please get a motion and a second for agenda item 4D? And this is, okay. This is an ordinance amending sections, well, can I get a motion and a second?
First. Second.
First by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Donenworth. This is an ordinance amending sections of the city code in conjunction with amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance. We're gonna have Noel go over that.
Yes, that one is actually item C that we're asking that you table, which you just voted to table. Item D is the fee and fine schedule information that Sam just shared with you about capping the maximum fine for fee in lieu for tree inch replacement.
Just for clarification, he actually, when Sam, I think that's his name?
Yes.
He covered this when he was doing that as
That
well.
was the end of his presentation
Okay. So,
about the tree replacement. That is this item D. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions to the motion?
Motion.
Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
And motion passes, sir.
Motion passes. Next, we have line item E. May I please get a motion and a second for agenda item 4E?
First.
First by Alderman Martinez,
Second.
second by Alderman Donenworth. This is an ordinance amending the code of ordinance to Waukegan, Illinois, to create a new Class G liquor license. Any questions?
I have a question. What actually is a Class G? I never heard of a Class G.
Sir, can we go over that? This is for the, we're going to, we're pretty much creating a exclusive liquor license for the Carnegie Hall.
yep, it looks like it's for the museum is what I see it is on on the board docs, the ordinance attached, and I believe Michael drafted this, but it's for museum for the Waukegan Historic Landmark. So this is the G liquor license for the museum.
That's for the new,
In the Carnegie Hall.
museum. Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Motion passes. Line item F, may I please get a motion and a second for agenda item 4F?
First.
Motion by Alderman Martinez,
Second.
second by Alderman Donenworth. This is an ordinance increasing the number of Class A tavern liquor license and video gaming license by 1 for Deja Vu Bar and Grill. Any questions? Can I get a roll call, please?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right. Line item 4G. May I please have a motion and a second for agenda item 4G?
Motion.
Motion by Alderman Donenworth, second by Alderman Martinez. This is an ordinance creating a Class C1 retail package sales and gasoline liquor license for 3201 Waukegan Gas LLC, located at 3201 Lewis Avenue. Are there any questions to the motion? Can I get a roll call, please? Oh, Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have my laptop because IT took it, but I believe on page 13 of this application, it still lists Ann Taylor as mayor. And the page was stamped that that document was received in August sometime. So I'm curious how that affects the application when it lists the wrong mayor on the document.
As long as the pertinent information is correct, that doesn't affect the approval status for my purposes.
Well, but I do think it's kind of weird that we're still using documents 4 months later that have the previous mayor's name on it.
We can, I have a lot of villages that I represent that sometimes, that'll happen, but as long as the information is correct, it doesn't affect the actual, I understand your point that we should have the form should have the correct name on it, but that doesn't, as long as it's approved by the council, even if it had the wrong mayor name on it, or the wrong person name on it, that doesn't affect, for purposes of approval, councilperson.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Moving on to line item 4H. May I please have a motion and a second for agenda item 4H?
First.
First by Alderman Martinez,
Second.
second by Alderman Donenworth. This is an ordinance creating a Class C1 retail package sale and gasoline liquor license for Washington and Lewis BP, located at 1900 Washington Street. Are there any questions? Alderman Florian?
Thank you again. So again, in this one, on page 14, it says Ann Taylor's still mayor. And then there was also no police report attached to it. I don't know if it just didn't get put in the packet or. Can anyone from the licensing department answer?
Susanna?
Good evening. This application came in the last minute on Friday, so perhaps we may have forgotten to include the records. I'll make sure that those records are included.
Okay. I don't know how we can vote on it without that information, though.
I want. It's the whole time? Okay, sorry. I go to other meetings and so I want to make sure I understand everything what's included in with specificity, since I don't have the stuff with me. Can you explain what's not?
Yeah, well, I believe what it's missing is the police records from that particular business.
Okay. Are you able to give information in regards to the police record?
Not right now, but I'm sure that we should have that information in our office.
Can we have that by the regular council meeting?
Yeah, well, that's
And have that sent directly to Alderman Florian, just to make sure?
Really.
Well, doesn't everyone want to see it? Am I the only one that cares?
Well, I've spoken to Juan Martinez. He has worked directly with the owner as well, and Chief Navarro. So these guys have a good track record.
If I could just tune in here. Yeah, I've spoken to
Alderman
Chief,
Martinez.
I've spoken to Chief Navarro, and I've also monitored Mr. Nuveen and his business. I can't say that he has a great reputation, and there's not been a lot of calls to that area, 1900 Washington Street. So I don't want this to be held up because something that for police support, but believe me, if it stood out like a sore thumb, and I most definitely would not be here today, but I am saying that the simple fact that there is no history, there is no smoking gun, there is no anything that should deter our decision today from moving this forward. Thank you.
So can I just clarify that the police report isn't about how many police calls to the location? It's about the background of the person applying, and there's certain things in your background that preclude you from getting a liquor license, and that's why we do the background check.
Absolutely, and if I can just say, I mean, if it's all about character, you know, if you're basing it on that, and Mr. Nuveen is right here, he can most definitely, would you mind coming up here,
And
sir?
just so you know, Alderman, any application will not go this far if we didn't have the records of the.
Well, then why weren't they included?
Honestly, I do not know. It was, like I said before, it was not supposed to be in the agenda this week, today. It was put in the agenda at the last minute on Friday.
Will someone be able to just clarify for the council by the 7 o'clock meeting that the background check is clear?
Yes.
Okay. So that doesn't stop the committee from voting on it, but to the alderperson's point is that it would be good to know whether or not they cleared the background check.
If we don't have a background check, as far as I know as well, in order to get this far, we have to have all the documents in there, including the background check.
Yes.
Doubting that it's been done, I just think to the alderperson's point, just so that it's on the record that it was done is what she's asking for.
Okay,
So.
if we can. Any other
And I'm
questions?
sorry, which one is the business, the one on Washington and 1900 Washington Street?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
That's for tonight, right, before 7? Legal counsel? Because it's not on the regular council today.
Unfortunately, Michael had a death in his family, so I got a call this afternoon asking me to
Okay.
come.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda for regular. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
That motion passed.
Line item 5, reports and communications. Do we have before, I'm sorry, do we have the casino people here? Okay. All right, can we have a motion already on the floor. We don't have a motion yet. All right, that's B. All right, this is a motion, this is an ordinance approving amended site plan approval for FHR Illinois LLC for the construction and operation of American Place, a permanent casino at 600 Lakehurst Road.
Good evening again. So as you may recall, 2 years ago, in September of 2023, the City Council approved a site plan for the permanent casino at Fountain Square. This is an amendment to that ordinance that exists. They've made some changes to the site plan and the facility, and they're here to talk to you about those changes. I'll let you introduce yourselves in whatever your order you're going to speak. Thanks.
Good evening. Perfect. New microphone, I like it. My name is Alex Stoliar. I am the Chief Development Officer for Full House Resorts. We are the parent company for American Place Casino. With me here today is Jeff Babinski, our Vice President General Manager of American Place, and Brian Wasilowski with GHA, our lead engineer on the project. We're excited to be here. This has, we've been excited for a long time, and unfortunately, our project got put on hold by some external factors that luckily have been resolved. And now we're just really eager and anxious to get this process going so we can build a fantastic permanent casino here in Waukegan. At this point, really, I'm here to answer questions, but I want to turn over to Brian, who did a lot of this design work, to actually answer any questions and walk through sort of the amended design plan here that we have.
All right.
You're going to, go ahead.
Good evening, Councilperson and Chairman. So we'll go through some of these things. Some of the slides are just necessary documents to submit, so we'll breeze through a few of them, but we'll concentrate on the larger aspects, mainly the site renderings and then also the site plan. So this first opening slide is a view that you would see from the main road entering the new casino. So what we're looking at here is the front entrance, porte cochere on the north side of the building, and kind of some of the plaza areas in front, along with the road on the right. So on the right side of the screen here is actually where the current temporary casino is today. So that gives you some perspectives on where you are. If we can skip a couple forward. One more. So this exhibit, these are just kind of showing the general site plan area that it currently sits today. So you can see where the majority of the development that's occurred has been in support of the current temporary casino. And then there's a large portion of the property on the city-owned parcel that's in the southeast area that's still currently fenced off where the stormwater detention is and some earthwork is. That's where the majority of the development is going to occur for the permanent casino. One more slide. So this is some 3D kind of aerial views of kind of how the proposed building fits within the area. So the white buildings in it are kind of approximations of the heights of the adjacent structures to give you some massing ideas on how the facility will fit on the property in comparison to the neighboring properties. This is a roof plan. We could skip to the next one. So this one I'll concentrate on a little bit. So these are the elevations of the main casino building. So going from the top down, the top is the western elevation. So this is the elevation of the building that faces the current temporary casino. So if I work my way left to right on that top elevation, you can see the porte cochere structure on the full left side. So that is where the main entrance of the casino is. There's that corner area is where there's intended to be some restaurants for the casino. So there will be some future signage applications that we work with the city staff on, and ultimately this development review board on some signage that will be going in that area. There's a loading dock in that section that we're screening with a rolling gate currently that is going to be intended to serve only those restaurant areas. So that would be used by a small, I don't want to say a semi, but a small vehicle that you would typically see, like a Cisco truck, that would be serving a restaurant or a business, would be utilizing that. And then there's gates there to be able to close that off so it's not visible during hours where it's not in use. And as you move your way to the south or the right on the page, there's another element with a roof in the center of the structure. That is where there will be another porte cochere or another drop-off area. So there will be two drop-offs for the casino, the main entrance and then a secondary. Similar to this previous plan that we had a secondary entrance that was intended to be for rideshare drop-offs, accessory drop-offs, and other elements. So that will be what takes place there. And then as you work your way further right, which is south along that building face, is where the employee entrance will be. So that will be where the employees are entering and exiting the facility. And we have a roadway leading up to that for if we end up in a situation where we're busing employees to the facility or just a drop off in general for any employees going there. So that's what's on the right side of that. The next elevation, oops, sorry, go back one. The next elevation is the south elevation. So this is the elevation that faces Lakehurst Road. This elevation was appended pending staff review. Staff gave us some preliminary comments that originally there wasn't as much architecture in this elevation, and staff requested that we provide some additional features on this south elevation. Because this south elevation does face Lakehurst, there is some residential on the south side there. So we added some depth and some perception to create a little more feel rather than it appearing like a large facade of stucco. So there's some limestone in there. There's some, I'll call them fake windows, but there's windows that appear to look like windows that do not see in or out. Among some other elements, and then on the right side of that is where the main loading dock is for the casino. That's in the same location as what it was when we last came to City Council for approval. So there's not a lot of changes. The only change to that is the loading dock is at grade. where in the previous plan, we did have it recessed below grade because there was a basement plan for the casino, which has now been omitted. There was a lot of challenges that we ran into during the design of that was prohibiting that, which is why it's now at grade, but we have plans for landscaping that area and screening that area in conformance with the city code to ensure that we're screening that as much as possible, similar to what we had as part of the previous development as well. The third elevation on here is the east elevation, and the reason the majority of this elevation looks a little bit bare, most of this facade you're not going to see. The mansion or the hotel development that's proposed, that's on just east of the casino, will be blocking view of the majority of this. And then as you get towards the right side of that, there's a parking lot there that is in a future phase for the casino as well. So there's a future plan potentially for doing other improvements to expand the casino in that area, which would also block that facade, which is why it's relatively bare right now. We have discussed a little bit of what we could do to spruce up that longer wall that's kind of on the right side that looks a little bit white right now, but we don't have any plans yet on what we would do there. The bottom elevation is the main entrance, so this is the north facade of the building, so this is where the majority of the patrons of the casino will be walking into. This is what faces Fountain Square Place on the north side. So in the center of the building is where the main entrance is, along with two towers on the east side. Those will be kind of loges where you can walk under them and shelter from rain or snow. And have more gathering spaces outside of the front. And the intent with all of it is to have a little more of a defined entry experience for people, whether they're being dropped off, whether they're parking and walking in, walking from the street, or any other elements around that area. There's more room to gather before you go in if you're meeting friends or anything like that before you go into the actual casino. Go to the next slide. So these elevations revolve around the mansion development, which is the hotel development on the east side of the casino. These have largely remained unchanged from what the previous plan was for this. So the intent is an elevated experience for customers that are staying at this boutique hotel. So it'll mirror a lot of the architecture that is being done on the north side or the main entrance of the casino. And revolving around that side on the east side of the development site. Go next slide. So here's some perspectives. So these are perspectives looking at the front entrance and being in the porte cochere on the north side of the casino. Go one more, please. So these are a little bit step back, same perspectives, but standing a little further away. These are some views of the fine dining establishment. So this is it located inside the casino. This is part of that other elevation that is in between the mansion and the casino itself. So these are some of the outdoor and covered seating areas that we're looking to do on in between those two structures as part of the fine dining experience for the casino. These are elevations of that mansion property showing the balconies and what the exterior of those rooms will look like. So this is the overall site plan. I'll concentrate on this one a little bit. I'll go through some of the elements. Again, very similar to a lot of the elements that were in the previous application. Item A in the middle there is the main permanent casino. I don't know if this will work. I don't know what do you guys want me to point to? Oh, they won't work on that, will it? Nope. Okay. LEDs don't like laser pointers. So A is the main permanent casino. B, currently the temporary casino. We are not planning on demolishing it at this point in time. And the main reason beyond that is the original casino had a potential to have a event center within it. Currently, that is a future phase in the main casino development. So there's a need for some space for some events, whether it be corporate events or things like that. So right now, the intent is to keep the temporary casino building up and erected for use, for that type of use that we can't fit within the permanent casino. And we are working to develop, pedestrian routes that'll go back and forth between those facilities to facilitate the operation of that. But that is the intended plan right now for the temporary. There's some rework that we have to do for the parking areas and the drives, because we want people to be directed to the main casino. So we're envisioning some signage packages that will, direct people to, the event center or the main casino entrance. So that will be things that we will develop as we get the design plans and permit drawings together for city staff and the building department for review and approval on. Item C on the east side is the mansion. That's where the boutique hotel is located. The D, it's a little bit covered up, but it's on the north side of the casino building. That is where the main entrance is. So that's where a lot of the vehicle drop-off, staging, valet, where the people will be walking into from the parking lots on the north side to get into the casino from. Item E is on the west side of the new casino. That is that secondary entrance that I talked about on the renderings, where the intended rideshare drop-off would be located, but another secondary entrance for people to get in and out of the casino, and then also that parking lot that it's currently south of the temporary casino is going to be repurposed and reoriented to serve the main casino development. So we will have some both staff and patron parking in that parking lot as well that will likely use that entrance as part of their daily use of the building as well. Item G is that main loading dock that's on the southeast side of the casino. So that's in the same location as it was as part of the previous plan. Item H is that secondary loading dock that I talked about that is intended to only serve those residents, not the residents, the restaurants in that northwest corner of the casino, whereas the main loading dock will be all the uses for staff and everything else that's associated with that. Item I is the porte cochere or the main entrance of the mansion. So if you're going to the mansion or the boutique hotel by vehicle, that will be where you would drive and drop your vehicle off. So the entrance location over there is very similar to the previous plan, and not a lot of changes for that. J, so that J is also on the east side of the casino. There's that parking lot in between the mansion and the casino. Right now, we're envisioning that to be both a patron parking lot, but also a valet parking lot pending use. So if there's areas or times that we envision a peak valet use, that will be cordoned off and used solely as valet. And we have designed the site around the valet having easy access to the lot, that we're able to isolate that from the rest of the site, so we're not crossing valet vehicles and other patrons that are driving around the property. And then there'll be a separate pickup, so that when people leave the casino, they'll know where they need to go to pick up their valet vehicle. And then there's 3 routes that they could take to get out from there. So whether you're going north to Fountain Square Place, east towards Waukegan Road, or back through the main entrance if you're heading towards 120. So we wanted to set that up in a way to make it as easy as possible for people leaving from there, that they can make it wherever they're looking to go after exiting the property. K is the helipad that was proposed originally, so that's staying in the plan. And then L is the gate that's being installed to cordon off the entrance for the mansion. These next 2 slides are similar to the previous plans, showing kind of the anticipated landscaping. So obviously a lot of trees, a lot of screening. The intent is to screen the parking lots, have boulevard trees throughout the property, and then asphalt for the majority of areas, but we're going to use both concrete and some sort of decorative enhanced paving feature in key areas, both to enhance the user experience of entering the facility, but also enhance the safety, so we can outline areas where pedestrians are crossing and make them a lot more visible for both the people that are where they should be walking, but also vehicles, so they're expecting pedestrians in certain areas as well. So this plan will get more refined as we develop the design drawings and take that further along. but these are the current ideas and the schematics for the landscape. So these next couple are in relation to the monument signs. So right now we have these that are kind of concentrated along Fountain Square Place. The one on the left is a 90-foot monument that would be at the corner of the property by Spring Hill Suites. The one on the right is the main entrance monument of what we're envisioning for that main entrance. One big change for that monument compared to what was originally proposed is we reviewed it more. We're actually setting it back further in the property to set that one further back from the property line to provide a little more depth and viewing of that intersection and allowing for other improvements to take place in there potentially in the future. And then this next one is the one on the left is the gate for the mansion. So it's similar to what was proposed previously. The one on the right is the monument that's shown on the south entrance along Lakehurst Road. One change that we did make after talking to staff, because of that being right across the street from residential, we did have that closer to the road originally, and feedback was there's a 45-foot setback for any monuments that you're proposing that are adjacent to residential districts. So we moved all that back, so we have that 45-foot separation, so we don't need to get a variance for that sign. And then this last one is some perspectives that kind of support the request for that 90-foot height. The intent of that 90-foot sign at the corner by Spring Hill Suites is to really provide a sense of entry when you're coming towards the casino from 120. So right now, when you come off the highway there and enter, you really don't even see the casino today. So the intent is, as you come up to that stoplight at Fountain Square Place, that monument sign draws your eye to it and directs you to the location of where you wanted to go. We've oriented it in a way to limit any splash or any items on the neighbors, and we've talked to the Spring Hill Suites as well. And as part of this package, we have a letter of support from them, not objecting to that location, based on them being really the closest property that would affect. So I don't know if they're.
Yeah, just one thing I would add. Everything Brian just went through, what we're seeking approval for is, for the site plan, this is basically all of phase one. That's all we're seeking approval for now. But we're working, Brian and our architects, WATG, they're all working. This is being master planned for all the future phases. So the phase 2 hotel tower, the parking garage, the concert venue, all of that is being designed into this as well. So, but right now we're seeking approval for phase 1 just so we can get the process started.
Perfect, thank you. I do like the sign. You're going to be able to see that from the highway, is that correct?
You will, correct.
Okay, perfect. Questions? Alderman Guzman?
Is Alderman Fleurin on this committee? No? Okay. So I'm not on this committee, but a few questions. Okay. So why the change in the phase 1? Wasn't there like this hotel, or that's in the next phase that's coming up? Because it made me feel like a college campus when I first saw it. And the other one made me feel like a casino. So why the change?
There was no change in the hotel plan. So we always had what we nicknamed the mansion, the 20-villa, high-end villa boutique hotel. That was always the initial hotel that was being built. And then we have in the plan a phase 2 hotel for, don't hold me to this, but I want to say 200, 250 rooms, a 4-star product, and that is still in the phase 2 plan, but there was no change there.
Okay, great. And then the second, do you have any agreement with like the tollway to start putting signs up on there to for the exits for the casino to be advertised, or just nothing?
We have a few, but I mean, we haven't had any discussions with them lately.
Because I think that'd be one important thing to do right there. It said, because it says, I think it says Waukegan, it says lakefront, but it doesn't say anything about.
We're definitely going to work on that. Yeah, we want to get as much signage out there as possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, on certain highways and interstates, you're restricted I think right now, still in the state of Illinois, you have that brown paddle wheel that identifies casino, which we got approval through. Everything else, I mean, we have billboards throughout, and, you know, we are on the monument sign right there by Spring Hill, which is part of Fountain Square. This is American Place, also has our restaurants identified.
Yeah, because I don't think it should be a problem, because I see it on I-90 for Elgin, and I see it on 290 other casinos, so.
It's fair.
Any other questions, Alderman Guzman?
No, that'll be it. Thank you.
Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Chair. So I just have a couple of questions. I don't know if they can go back to the beginning with the southeast, north elevations. I was just curious, where you said the employee entrance was, it looked like it was like a 3-story building at that point. Why? What, over there at the top, top right.
It's a 2-story building in that area. The reason for the height change is there is a second floor there, where there is not a second floor in the rest of the casino.
Okay, and what's going to be in that second floor?
It's a VIP area.
Okay, so it'd be private gaming there, okay. And then I noticed on the one slide it said you had 1,800 parking spaces, give or take?
It's 1,600, give or take, right now.
Okay, sorry, maybe I misunderstood. So when you have an event, you're going to use the current temporary casino for an event space, right? So if you have an event in there, like say on a Friday or Saturday night, are you going to have enough spaces for the event and the casino happening at the same time?
I believe so.
Okay. And how many people does your event space, are you predicting it will hold?
We have not gone through that process of identifying how many the event center will hold, which is currently the casino. But today, right now, we have, you know, we can hold up to 3,000.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yep.
That's way more than 1,800.
Yeah, but, and we've, so far we'll be adding parking to this footprint. And
Right.
thus far, we have not run out of parking since we've been open.
Okay, so one more question. So the front entrance there, you talked about hanging out or gathering or whatever. What about your smokers? Where do they go?
So we don't have a detailed plan yet on, there's 2 different smoking groups that we're concerned about. It's employees and patrons. And we recognize right now at the temporary that a lot of the times it's the front entrance. We want to avoid that as part of this next development, so we are working with the design team to identify a location that makes sense. There's a lot of challenges that come with that in the state of Illinois with how the gaming board works with people entering the casino and then leaving the casino. So we're working through that, but the intent is right now we're hoping that it's not going to be at the front entrance. We just have not found a home for it yet on the plan, but we are working through that and we are aware that it's something that we want to improve.
Because isn't there, like, I don't even know what it is, 15
15
feet
feet.
or something that you're not supposed to be by the door, but frequently people don't pay attention to that? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. If there's further questions, we can take one quick question.
All right, I have 3 quick questions. You had mentioned a hotel being built. How many floors is the hotel going to be?
The Phase 1 hotel is 2 stories. It's 20 high-end villas.
So in the future, is there plans to maybe make it higher?
Not that hotel, but there is a plan for a full hotel tower of about 250 rooms, and yeah, that's going to be much taller.
And also, what is the busiest street you see a lot of your customers coming from? Is it more coming from Belvedere, Washington Street, 41?
Really, it's coming from all directions. You know, in the month of July, we were the 5th highest revenue-generating casino out of 17, so we're getting them from all areas.
Finally, you know, that area, you have a lot of pedestrians that live across the street at those apartments, and they're always, especially now there's no health club, they're always walking around there. I've seen that for many years. Are you guys still going to maintain being pedestrian-friendly for them?
Absolutely. We have a lot of team members that actually live in those apartments.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Good luck and great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. If you guys have any questions, feel free they can reach out to you guys from the alderman. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
The motion passed, sir.
All right, line item 5, reports and communication. There is none. 6, adjournment. May I please have a motion and a second
Motion.
for adjournment at 6:30 PM. Motion by Alderman Doningworth.
Second.
Second by Alderman Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.